Okay, welcome back to the channel, guys. I was not expecting us to have such a hype episode of Shield Hero today. Because here's something a lot of you might not know from how this episode ended. We still have one more episode of this season. This is a 13 episode season. But with how this episode ended today, it don't feel like it. I have no clue what's going to happen in the next episode. I imagine it's going to set up the next season, which we do get into a little bit towards the end. But let's get into this episode, because it was pretty damn hype. I was watching it like, yo, I was not ready for this. So let's get into it, guys. Again, welcome back to the channel. You guessed it, we're here to talk about Shield Hero episode 12 today. And we had a great episode, actually. I love being able to say that about Shield Hero, guys. It's fantastic. And quick little story before we get in. I won't take up too much of your guys' time. I've been saying throughout my entire reviews of this show, like, I'm going to read the light novel, guys. I'm going to read it. Well, I can confirm today that I have indeed read it. And I really like it. Definitely going to continue. I'm not caught up to where we are now. I'll say that. But by the time I've read the first 2 volumes so far, and I have the third one. I just haven't read it yet. So I'm at the point where he just got Philo. I finished that volume. But by the time season 3 comes around, I will be caught up, and I can give you guys way more in-depth opinions then. And I'm very excited for that. But that's later down the line. Let's talk about today's episode. Now, today's episode starts right where our last one left off, with Kyo triggering the waves of calamity. And can I just say, I love how this episode started today. I really do. Showcasing just how really similar Kyo and Naofumi really are. They're incredibly similar. They are basically 2 sides of the same coin. And especially after reading the first 2 volumes of the light novel, like, I feel like I understand Naofumi's character a bit more now, a bit better than in the anime. And it really shows that if Naofumi would have made some different decisions, or if he didn't have the people in his life that he does, that he would have been Kyo. He literally would have been Kyo. He would have done the same kind of heinous shit as Kyo. And I love that our episode really showcases that in the beginning. I feel like that was the point of that, to really showcase how similar they are. I thought that was a very good touch. But back to our present time, the waves of calamity have started, and Kizuna and her group had been transported to the epicenter of it. Because they are this world's heroes. So they get transported and Naofumi doesn't. And that includes Ethnabolt. But Ethnabolt actually comes back on his boat vassal and picks up Naofumi and them, and they figure out what they need to do. They think about going to help Kizuna, but Yomogi tells them that we need to go stop Kyo. I promised Kizuna I would take you to Kyo so you could stop him. And we even get a little scene with Kizuna and all of them on the battlefield saying how, yeah, I don't think these waves are going to stop until we stop Kyo, who's at the epicenter of it. And I gotta say, guys, I really thought we'd get more of the actual wave in this episode, you know? I thought, because this is a 13 episode season, I thought this episode would be dedicated to them fighting the waves, and then the next episode would be stopping Kyo. But that's not the case, apparently. So, alright. So we just kind of get that quick little fight of the waves, and then we don't see anything of it. So now we transition to Naofumi invading Kyo's base, and who does he run into first thing when he gets in there? He runs into Kazukis' attendants. And as we remember from our previous episode, we remembered that they promised to help Kyo with his research if he would bring back Kazuki. And I guess he kept his word, technically. Before we get into that, we realize just what he did to them. He turned them into chimeras. He horribly disfigured them and gave them the traits of animals. And the head girl has half her face like the Baiko from our previous episode that Raftalia beat. And I gotta say, they're pretty horrendous. But I guess it shows how dedicated they are to Kazuki. Now, then we get a badass scene where Raftalia just says, we don't have time for you. Just takes the sword and takes them out in one hit. And I gotta say, guys, like, Raftalia's kind of broken now. Like, what? She's kind of broken. I think she's probably the strongest member of their group now, pretty easily. And I gotta say, I really do love the fact that they made her a vassal weapon hero. I didn't know how I'd feel about that, honestly, when it first happened, but I think I'm starting to like it, you know? I think it's kind of dope. And she easily takes them out. And as she does that, the man himself comes out, Kyo, and just starts mocking them and belittling them. And he's not alone, though. We see the joyful faces of his attendants as Kazuki himself comes out. But he's a little off, because he's kind of dead. And it's revealed that Kyo didn't bring back Kazuki. He didn't bring him back to life. He's dead. He took the soul of the mirror vassal weapon wielder and put it inside of Kazuki. So that explains why that guy went missing before. Because Kyo kidnapped him and he put his soul inside of Kazuki, basically making him a homunculus. He's basically like a zombie, kinda. He has someone else's soul in him. He's dead. To the horrified faces of his attendants that realized just what a mistake they made. And Kyo sicks Kazuki on the rest of the group as he runs off. And Naofumi wants to chase after him, but he gets stopped by Kazuki. And this is when Raftalia steps up and says, hey, I'll stop him. I can feel the mirror vassal weapons holder calling out to me. And it's in this scene that we realize that vassal weapon holders kind of can resonate with each other. They kind of have an understanding with each other, a non-verbal understanding. Like, they can feel each other. And she wants to stop him. So Philo and Yomogi actually assist her in that, and they insist that Naofumi and Rishia actually go and confront Kyo. So as they're fighting them, Naofumi and Rishia do go and confront Kyo, but it turns out this is exactly what Kyo wanted, as he says, I was waiting for the two of you to be alone, because if you remember, he holds a deep grudge against Rishia too, because she fucking embarrassed the hell out of him the last time that they were together. It's actually pretty epic. And they start fighting. But before that, he puts his plan into motion to enrage Naofumi, and boy does he. He starts belittling Naofumi, belittling his efforts, saying how, oh, you call them your friends and all that, Naofumi, but they're slaves. You've enslaved all of them. Just because you've made them stronger doesn't mean you can justify that you've enslaved these people. You use them for your own benefit. You're just like me. And this enrages Naofumi to the point where he actually brings out the rage shield, which I didn't think he would use again, actually, after what Os did in our previous episodes, but he brings that out, and he is consumed by his anger as Kyo just completely belittles him, downplaying everything he's done, calling him scum, basically, that you're no different than me. And Naofumi just completely gives in to his anger in this moment. And it's in this moment that I don't remember if we see this in Season 1. At least where I am in the books, I don't remember this happening. But he gets taken over by the shield. And we get to see, I guess you could say, the personification of the shield itself. And to me, it looks like a dragon. Which is kind of obvious since he uses a dragon's power with the shield. But we get to see the personification of the Rage Shield in this episode. And it is a giant dragon that burns everything away. And Naofumi is completely consumed by it. And in his anger, he actually lashes out at Rishia. And this scene's a little harsh, but he just starts completely bad-mouthing her, saying, you're worthless. Why do I have to look out for someone whose goal in life is to get into the bow hero's pants, you worthless slut? And I'm just watching that like, Jesus. And Rishia's horrified at first, but then she smiles at Naofumi. And she tells him, so you finally told me how you feel. You finally told me your real thoughts about me. And this was harsh, but I felt like this scene was really necessary, if you think about it. Because, yes, Risha has grown a lot over the course of our series, but she is still kind of an outsider with the group in a way. And Naofumi does... These are actually his thoughts. He's been taken over by this shield, but the shield just helped him, I guess you could say, vocalize his real thoughts. But she's not mad at this. She starts telling Naofumi, yeah, maybe you did enslave them. And maybe you did use them at first. But you didn't have a choice. They understand that. There were things you had to do no matter what. Even if it meant enslaving them. And they understood that. But they still stood with you. They still believe in you. And they know that you're not using them anymore. That you're their treasured friends at this point. And you would do anything to save them. And it's at this point that Naofumi starts breaking out of the basically mind control that the shield has on him. And during this scene, we do get to see the battle between Raphtalia and the group against the mirror vassal weapon wielder, I guess Kazuki in this instance. And I thought we'd spend more time on that too, but no, we kind of glossed that over. So they take him out with relative ease, and they free the vassal weapon from him and his soul. And let's go back to Naofumi and Risha, where Risha, having helped Naofumi to break away from the shield, if only enough for him to regain his conscience, starts to attack Kyo. And she puts in the work yet again. Kyo's doing everything, using the tortoise's power and all that, and he still can't stop her. He's in the same position he was, and he's enraged, like, why is this happening again with you? And it's in this instance, when she's holding him back, that we go inside of Naofumi's mind a bit, and we truly see the personification of the Rage Shield speaking to him, saying, what are you doing? You need my power to fight these waves. You're weak. Without me, you can't do this. Like, I've given you the power to fight what you need to fight. Without me, you can't possibly beat the waves. And it's in this instance that we see Ost come in. And she just gently embraces his hand, saying, Shield Hero, I told you, you don't need to use this shield anymore. And she starts reminding him, like, are you going to use this rage to kill my friends? Like, you don't need this anymore. I've given you the power to do what you need to do. You decide what you do with your life. Others don't tell you what you do. It's your choice with how you deserve to live. And it's in this moment that Naofumi finally wakes up from his daze completely. And we see that Raphtalia and Philo are there next to him, embracing him. And it's in this moment that Naofumi activates the turtle shield again. And has like a little power struggle with Kyo. Kind of like a Dragon Ball Z moment. Kyo grows wings, and they have like a beam clash with each other, which is kind of epic. And Naofumi does this pretty epic speech, actually, saying how it's how I deserve to live. These are my treasured friends. And the power of friendship completely... the power of friendship just wins the day and overpowers Kyo. And it's pretty epic, I gotta be honest. We even see Oist ghosts standing next to him, spiritually being there. And they have a struggle. And I want to mention, actually, that they did free the mirror vassal weapon. And they actually used that in the battle, which I thought was awesome. They put it in front of his shield, and its power was able to amplify Naofumi's. And that's how he was able to beat Kyo, actually. But right before he disappears, Kyo gives a warning to Naofumi that... you'll see what I mean soon enough. It's guys like you that always end up looking stupid in the end. And those are his final words before he supposedly dies. Now, I don't know if he dies, but we're really led to believe this because he's gone, but his vassal weapon is still there. The book is there. And as you know, heroes can't be separated from their weapons unless they die. And so his book's there, so we're led to believe that he's dead. We'll just have to wait and see. I have a sinking suspicion he's not gone. But it's at this moment that the waves have gone away, and Kizuna and her group reconverge with Naofumi. And everyone's happy, you know? They saved the day, they recovered the tortoise's power, and they're all just trying to figure out what to do next. Kizuna and her group want to celebrate, and Naofumi, thinking to himself, I don't have a way to get home, so I guess I will have to stay here with you guys for a bit, decides to join them. But it's in this instance that he gets a little notification above his head saying, your mission has been complete. And he's getting teleported back to his world. And we have a really heartfelt goodbye, actually, between him and Kizuna, which I was not expecting, because I think personally, over the course of their journey, that she kind of has a crush on him. I think that's pretty apparent, actually, with how she's talking to him as he's leaving. But she's finally able to thank him for everything she's done as he goes back to his world. And it was a really nice scene, honestly. So we go back to his world, and we see him in the throne room with the queen. She gives him a medal. She makes him a Viscount, actually, which is a fairly high title. Honestly, a Viscount. And we learn that as he was in the other world, that they had a wave. His world had a wave as well, actually. And the other 3 heroes actually defeated it and stopped it, which I find kind of surprising. Maybe they're not as useless as I think, but they're still pretty shitty, in my opinion, the other heroes. They all suck still. But I guess if later down the line we flush them out a bit, I'm not going to be upset with that, you know? If we make them better characters at the end of the day, maybe I can accept them. But for right now, they still suck. And our episode ends with Naofumi going back to the village, and we actually see a bit of what our next season is going to entail. And now that I know the light novels a little bit, guys, like I said, I'm not caught up to here, but I know the covers of the light novels. I've looked over the covers in all of them, and I saw some stuff I recognized. So I kind of a little bit have a general idea of where we're going. And I got really excited, actually, seeing what's going to come next. And that's how our episode ends. Which is kind of crazy to me, because we still have an episode left of this season. And this episode really felt like it was the end of the season. So I have no clue what next week is going to entail. But I'm excited for it. And I hope you guys are too. You know, through all the problems that Shield Hero has had through Season 2 with its pacing and kind of its rushing through stuff, I still think it was quite an enjoyable time for the most part. I very much enjoyed it. And now that I'm reading the books, I have a newfound appreciation for this series. I'm extremely excited to get to Season 3 now. Because when that happens, I will be caught up and up to Season 3's content, so I can give you guys way more insightful information, and I can't wait for that. But you guys let me know what you thought of this episode down below. One more episode left in Shield Hero. I imagine we're going to set up the next season with it, but who knows? We could have a beach episode for all I know next week. Again, you guys let me know what you thought down below. And yeah, that'll be it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, week, month, and year. And remember, guys, smile and just have a blessed day.